Hi Stampers, this is Barbara Reed, the Wexford Stamper, and today we're going to be working on one of the Boho Indigo Product Suite projects. Project number 1, the Boho Indigo Mini Purse. And here is some samples of the mini purse, and if you pull out your PDF that I included with the projects, it'll give you a list of all the materials that you need to make the project. Okay, so let's get started. If you notice, this gives you an idea of what size they are, and that they can fit easily 2 of these little chocolates inside or other types of favors. These are great for little gifts and very quick to put together. Now I added a little bit of stitching here with my gel pen, and that's something you can do that's kind of optional. All right, so let's go ahead and get started. The first thing we're going to start with is a piece of DSP cut at 5.5 inches by 5.5 inches. So you're going to have to cut off a 1/2 inch on both sides. You can choose whatever paper from the product suite you like. This is one that I haven't made purse out of yet, so I'm going to use this one today. All right, now when you choose a paper, you might want to be looking at if the paper has direction to it. For example, if I would have chosen this side for the outside, on one side of the purse, the little leaves would be upside down. So you probably want to pick a piece of designer series paper that doesn't have any directionality to it, that it won't matter if it's upside down on the back side of the purse. So that's just something to consider when you're choosing your piece of designer series paper. All right, now we're going to focus when we do our scoring today on opposite sides. So your first set of opposite sides here, you're going to score at 2 1/4. So I'm going to score there at 2 1/4, then I'm going to turn it 180 degrees and score at 2 1/4 again. All right, so I have these 2 lines close to the center that are opposite of each other. Now we're going to do that again, but we're going to do the other opposite sides. And for these, we're going to score at 1 1/2, turn it to the opposite side, 1 1/2. Okay? And that's all the scoring that we have for this project. Pretty easy. But I just want you to remember you have to focus on the opposite sides when you're doing your scoring so you get it right. All right, then I'm going to go ahead and take my bone folder, and I'm going to go ahead and crease on all my score lines. All right, now, as your bag is coming together here, you want to focus on the, this way. You want it to look this way, where you have the thinnest section is the bottom of your bag. Okay, you're gonna have this one too, but this is the larger space between the score lines. Those aren't going to be the bottom of our bag. So this is the way the bag is going to sit, like this. Okay, so we need to do some scoring, some cutting, so we can go ahead and put our bag together. So keeping that thin panel right in the middle of your paper here in the landscape position, we're going to cut up these vertical score lines and stop right when we get to that center thin panel. Same thing over here. We're going to turn it around and do the same thing again. Okay, you're going to find your score line, take it vertically all the way up to the first horizontal score line. Same over here. Okay, so this is what you should have when you're finished with your cutting. Now these pieces are going to fold and go behind the larger rectangle panel, and that's going to be the front of the bag. So let's go ahead and get out our Tombow, and I'm going to go ahead and put a little bit of Tombow on both of these side panels here, and then I'm going to go ahead and tuck them behind the larger rectangle panel like that. Okay, then I'm going to do the same on the other side. Remember, we're putting the Tombow on the pattern that's on the front of the bag. That's where we put the Tombow. Then we fold those in and then fold our front panel over top and squeeze those gently. And that's pretty much the body of your purse. You can push in with your finger there and get you a little bit of creasing on the side. And that's it. Now the next thing we're going to do is bring in some Night of Navy, or you can use any other color to complement your bag. And we're going to use these strips. These are cut at 2.5 by 1 and then scored at 1/2. So I can fold them and they'll look like that. Okay, same thing with this one. And these are the parts that are just going to kind of top off the bag, give it a little bit of contrast at the top. So I'm going to go ahead and take my Tombow again, and I'm going to go ahead and put it inside that panel, place the panel on top, and then just squeeze. Okay. There you go. All right, we'll do the same thing on the other side. Okay, this panel is also scored at 1/2, and we just put it over the top of that front panel and then squeeze it so it's going to be on the inside and the outside. Just a little contrast, and that'll give us something to glue our handles to. So there we go. There's the second step. We just put on our little strips up there. Now the last thing are our handles. And before we put the handles on, I want you to take your bone folder and curl them a little bit. That makes it easier to glue them, and they won't be so anxious to pull away when you're trying to glue them. So you want to go ahead and give them a bit of a curl. And now you want to put glue on the same side at both ends, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to put this one in here and hold there, and then you're going to bring this one around and hold it there. Okay, so it's going to curve a little bit in the handle, but since you've already done a little bit of curving with your bone folder, it won't be that hard for your paper to want to stay where it should be. Okay, and I would recommend using glue for this because sometimes if you use a snail or another adhesive, it can pull apart. Glue is the best way to go when you're making this 3D item. And now here's the other one. I put glue on the same side at both ends. I'm going to bring it in here and hold it, and then bring around the other end and hold it there. Maybe about 1/2 inch from the edge of the panel. And just hold it for a minute. Tombow's great. It holds on really quickly. And there's your bag. Okay, now I'm going to add a little bit of a embellishment on the front. I'm just going to put this little gold ribbon. The gold ribbon is also in your product suite kit. Everything I'm using here is in the suite except for the cardstock. And you can use either Moonlight, let's see, Misty Moonlight or Night of Navy if you have that in your stash. And you can use Whisper White or Very Vanilla, and that would be fine for most of the projects. And there's the little bow on the handle there. So there is the first project, project number 1 completed. If you have any questions, please message me and I'd be glad to help. Thanks again.